This rethinking process is even more compelling at this time as international oil prices take a very significant turn for the worse. For President Muhammadu Buhari and this administration, governance is birthed within the context of ideas and ideals, a platform that values and protects people. In that context, doing and promoting what is right is not just morally appropriate. It remains the only practicable and sustainable way for developing a diverse nation such as ours. Furthermore, governance is about finding practical solutions to real-world problems, grasping the opportunities to secure our nation's future. As such, I believe that all efforts and resources of government must only seek to organize and harness the nation's assets for the welfare of its citizens. It is our business to creatively build an inclusive existence for the majority of our citizens in the Niger Delta and around the country, many of whom had been excluded and neglected for far too long. The task is daunting but achievable. For the Niger Delta, many have observed that the riches in hydrocarbon may not have translated to a prosperous existence for the majority of the people. The task for us now is to stop that trend and strengthen institutions and processes that will fix the problem. We must change the recurrent narrative of a lack of economic opportunities and its associated restiveness of our young ones in the Niger Delta. Rather, we must address the disturbing levels of environmental degradation and incorporate the realities of climate change and our planned agricultural and industrial renewal as effective components of the ultimate solution. In the spirit of sustainable development, we must tackle headlong the issues of socio-economic justice by opening new economic frontiers for our people beyond resource extraction. This is the time for fresh and creative thinking. Our people are our biggest assets, and our citizens in the Niger Delta and other parts of Nigeria must be restored to a dignified place of existence and livelihood with or without oil wealth. In my view, the theme for this forum aptly captures the yearnings of the moment and could not have come at a better time. Our proposal to diversify the economy and win the nation away from dependence on petroleum is a matter of firm and binding commitment that the Buhari administration does not take lightly at all. If ever we needed additional impetus, I think it has now presented itself. Our nation's revenues and our ability to tackle the developmental needs have dwindled significantly as the price of oil had dipped. Almost exclusive reliance on petroleum is therefore very clearly unsustainable. But the potentials of our great country go well beyond petroleum. This is why diversification is no longer a mantra for us. It is a definitive course of action. From agriculture to solid minerals, technology, retail, manufacturing, and so on. This administration is committed to providing the enabling environment for comprehensive growth and development. I am convinced that we have the human resources and the market to make it happen. For this region in particular, the overarching concern is how to use what we have today to invent the future of the Niger Delta. The strategic and statutory role of NDDC in achieving this cannot be overemphasized. Given the prevailing economic outlook, most people would expect the coming budget year to be tough. Clearly, we have to be tough on cutting waste and using our limited resources in the most efficient manner. There will be no forgiveness for us if we avoid making the hard choices now. Nor will there be forgiveness for other tiers of government if they fail to recognize the big need to invest in people and infrastructure, while supporting a people-oriented context for reform. Building critical infrastructure, assisting business entrepreneurs, promoting agriculture and solid minerals exploitation, as well as implementing many other programs that will lift the poor out of poverty will be our key priorities. In all cases, the ultimate goal must be to promote the security and the well-being of our people. This is why we must also start weaving a reliable safety net that is capable of catching the vulnerable and the very poor in our society. In doing this, I must also say that the federal government cannot carry the burden alone. State and local governments are expected to be in active collaboration with a view to getting the benefits of social protection to a wider section of our people. It is also expected that the private sector will participate actively in our infrastructure development programs as key providers of capital and enterprise. We can only succeed in the realization of these plans when every segment of society is called upon to do its bit in the national interest. For instance, investing in better infrastructure creates the impetus for growth and improves the efficiency of our industry and commerce. In a direct way, it also improves the welfare and happiness of the people. It is the consensus of all observers that infrastructure is pivotal to getting our nation moving efficiently and competitively. To cut our infrastructure deficit, it will be necessary to unlock private sector investment and expand its role and participation, especially in the provision of housing and transport infrastructure. Government's capacity to fund infrastructure through traditional financing methods alone will simply not be enough, considering falling oil revenues and ever-growing expenditure demands. Meanwhile, the cost of construction spirals upwards, and we now all talk of billion-dollar projects where we used to speak of millions. I think that this is something worthwhile we can stretch ourselves and leverage our resources to achieve. Delivering economically productive infrastructure means that we have to be more creative in how we plan and fund capital projects to ensure that scarce resources are deployed prudently in such a way as to return the greatest benefits to the economy and the public. This is why we are establishing an infrastructure fund that collaborates with institutional investors and private contractors to deliver Nigeria's critical infrastructure needs in a smoother, predictable, and more reliable manner. Across the Niger Delta region, safe and efficient transportation networks are of crucial importance in keeping communities connected and the supply chain moving to and from our major import-export hubs. It is by paying attention to these that we build a strong economy and improve the potentials and the welfare of our people. In the same vein, our agricultural production could more than double in 3 years. Energy self-sufficiency and the potential for major export contracts are also here with the steady development of gas reserves in this region. At the same time, we must rapidly develop in the area of renewable energy, especially with solar and wind, all of which capitalize on our natural advantages. All these opportunities for growth are here within our regions, our states, and our local governments. Harnessing the talent of the people of the Niger Delta, linking regional enterprises to markets, and putting in place skills development programs in the region and states to meet demand is something we must now seek to achieve without further delay. In working toward all this, I must again stress the need for collaboration among different sectors of society. not only to achieve sustainable development, but also to find lasting peace, unity, and security in an atmosphere of law and order. Again, I must congratulate NDDC for this initiative, for the states, businesses, civil society organizations, traditional rulers, public sector agencies who are all represented here, our youths. We must seek to influence that which will bring about inclusive and sustainable development for the people of the Niger Delta. Our programs and actions must be creative, purpose-driven, to turn around the current drawbacks in our educational, job creation, health, infrastructure, and environmental sectors. Speaking of environmental degradation, I will not conclude this address without mentioning President Buhari's quick efforts at connecting the dots between campaign promises and policy actualization. Our administration has already commenced work on the cleanup of the Ogoni area and other seriously affected communities. In this regard, our goal is to ensure that we protect the environment as well as apply remediation measures to alleviate the impact in already polluted areas. Once again, I thank you all, and indeed, I thank each and every stakeholder here present for making time to attend this very important event. As you deliberate on these topical issues, I urge you to ensure the development of a comprehensive and realistic action plan for each and every stakeholder, which can be followed through by quick implementation. It is now my pleasure to declare this forum open. Thank you very much.
We've just been watching a live coverage of the NDDC Partners for Sustainable Development meeting, which took place there in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. It's still Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos, as we will now return to our normal programming. Stay with us.